Pandora doesn't really have a proper night, but Avatar, The Way of Water uses an eclipse for the same dramatic effect. James Cameron's Avatar films are set on Pandora, a moon of the gas giant Polyphemus in the binary system of Alpha Centauri. This is the star system closest to the Milky Way, and scientists really are monitoring Alpha Centauri in the hopes they'll discover worlds, moons, and perhaps even Earth-like planets. The search has proved to be a difficult one, however, meaning humanity is a long way from discovering the real-world Pandora. The complicated stellar mechanics mean that, in Avatar, the moon Pandora doesn't really have a night. It receives most of its light from the star named Alpha Centauri B, shortened to ACB by astronomers, but a lot of light is reflected by Polyphemus. There's something vaguely resembling a day-night cycle, though, dictated by the relative positions of the different celestial bodies, and most notable when Polyphemus comes between Pandora and ACB. Avatar, The Way of Water uses the eclipses for dramatic effect, tying them into major events. Eclipses on Earth are caused by the moon blocking the sun, and throughout history they've been seen as a disruption of the natural order and something of a bad omen. Many cultures have given them a supernatural explanation, describing conflict between the gods. Although eclipses are curiously absent in ancient Egyptian mythology, scholars actually believe this may be because they were viewed as particularly traumatic, and the Egyptians simply didn't want to record them. Many societies have conducted rituals to try to end the eclipse, and there's some evidence the ancients performed human sacrifices to bring the sun back. The sun is generally seen as the source of light and life, so an eclipse was generally deeply disturbing. Judeo-Christian traditions generally see an eclipse as an act of God, usually a warning of impending judgment. There are even references to what seems to be a solar eclipse in prophecies of the Second Coming. Even today, a total solar eclipse in the United States in 2017 was seen as a portent of judgment. Dispensationalist theologians such as N. Graham Lotz warned the eclipse should not be celebrated, viewing it as ominous. The end of Avatar, The Way of Water uses the eclipse in much the same sinister way, with the eclipse coming at a time of conflict that they must navigate through. Every one of the main characters is left changed by the eclipse. Jake and Neytiri lose one of their children, while Colonel Quaritch fails in his mission and would have died if not for Spider's intervention. Spider, for his part, accepts his family ties to Quaritch, but concludes he does not want to stand with humanity in the coming war. Every one of the characters chooses their side, with the eclipse defining them. The interesting question, though, is whether this eclipse should actually be seen as an interruption in the Order of Iwa. The Metkayina have never waged this kind of war before, and even a Tolkien joins the battle, defying its peaceful nature. Avatar, The Way of Water hints Iwa is providing another way, with Kiri serving as a messianic figure, a child of Iwa who appears perfectly suited as an agent of reconciliation between the Nausicaa and the Sky People. The battle scene in the third act could, therefore, be interpreted as a moment when the ways of Iwa had been abandoned, presumably a theme that will be developed as James Cameron's franchise continues.